In this video, we'll see the values of trigonometric ratios. We'll start with the values of sine at standard angles. By standard angles, we mean the 5 angles of 0 degrees, 30 degrees, 45, 60 and 90 degrees. In the later videos, we'll try to find out the values of these trigonometric functions, sine, cosine, tangent and the rest of them at an intermediate angle also, let's say 75 degrees. For now, in this video, we'll stick to these standard angles. We start with 0 degrees first. By 0 degrees, we mean that the angle between this blue ray and this brown ray is 0. 0 means that these two rays will be absolutely overlapping. They will be one on top of the other. I have shown them with a little separation between them just for demonstration purposes, but actually if the angle is 0 degrees, then you will not be able to differentiate between these two rays. Now, if there is a triangle, a right angle triangle, if this is the right angle and we are considering this angle. So if this angle is 0 degrees, that means these two rays, ray number 1 and ray number 2 will be overlapping. That means they will be on top of each other. So that means this side number 3 will not be present. Or in other words, the length of this side will be 0. Now as we remember from the previous videos that the definition for sine function is, let's say this angle is A. So sine of A is height over hypotenuse. So if angle A is 0, that means if this particular angle is 0, sine 0 is, then height is also 0, 0 over hypotenuse, and 0 over anything is 0. So sine 0 will be 0. Now we look at other standard angles. So 30 degrees, sine 30 is 1 by 2. Sine 45 degrees is 1 over root 2. Sine 60 is root 3 by 2. And sine 90 is 1. Now let's move to other trigonometric functions and their values at standard angles. So the next one is values of cosine at standard angles. We'll start with 0 degrees. Cos of 0 is 1. Cos of 30 degrees is root 3 over 2, which is same as sine of 60 degrees. Cos of 45 is 1 over root 2, which is also the value for sine of 45 degrees. Cos of 60 is 1 over 2, which is same as sine of 30. And cos of 90 is 0. Later, we will try to understand the relationship between cos and sine and why they have same values at different angles. Now let's move on to find the values of tangent function at these standard angles. Before we find out the values of this function at the standard angles, we have to understand a relationship that holds between three trigonometric functions, tan, sine and cos. And the relationship is tan theta is equal to sine theta over cos theta. That means if you want to find the tangent of any angle, you can either use the triangle method, that if you know the height and the base of that triangle for that particular angle, then you can simply do height over base and that will give you tan theta. Or if you know sine theta and cos theta for that angle, then you can do sine theta divided by cos theta and then you will get tan theta. Let's see how this works for different angles. So we'll start with 0 degrees first and we will use the relationship between the three trigonometric functions to find the values of tangent. So tan of 0 can be written as sine 0 degrees over cos 0 degrees. And as we have seen earlier in this video, that values of sine and cos at 0 degrees. So sine of 0 is 0 and cos of 0 is 1. So 0 over 1 is 0 and tan of 0 will be 0. Let's see 30 degrees. Tan of 30 will be sine 30 over cos 30 and sine 30 is 1 over 2. Cos 30 is root 3 over 2. 2 and 2 get cancelled in the denominator, so tan 30 will be equal to 1 over root 3. Next is 45 degrees. Tan 45 will be equal to sin 45 over cos 45, and both of them are equal at this angle. That means both of them are actually 1 over root 2. Since they are equal, so tan 45 will be 1. Let's move on to 60 degrees. Tan of 60 will be equal to sin 60 over cos 60. And sin 60 is root 3 over 2. Cos 60 is 1 over 2. So 2 and 2 get cancelled in the denominator and we get tan 60 is root of 3. The last angle for tangent function is 90 degrees. So tan 90 will be sin 90 over cos 90. And sin 90 is 1 and cos 90 is 0. And anything divided by 0 is actually undefined. So tan 90 is undefined. The next trigonometric function is values of cosecant at standard angles. Again, there is a relationship between sine and cosec, which is cosec theta is 1 over sine theta. So if we know the height and the hypotenuse of a triangle, we can either use it directly to find cosec theta, which will be hypotenuse over height, or if we do not know these two things, height and hypotenuse, but we know the sine of that angle, then we can just take its reciprocal to find the cosec. So we start with 0 degrees. Cosec of 0 will be 1 over sine of 0. And sine of 0 is 0. Again, something divided by 0 is always undefined. The next angle is 30 degrees. So cosec of 30 is equal to 1 over sine 30. And sine 30 is 1 over 2. So cosec 30 will be 2. At 45 degrees, we will have cosec of 45 will be 1 over sine 45 degrees. And sine 45 is 1 over root 2. So cosec of 45 degrees will be root 2. Next is 60 degrees. Cosec of 60 will be 1 over sine of 60 degrees. And sine 60 is root of 3 by 2. That means cosec 60 will be 2 over root 3. And the last is 90 degrees. So cosec 90 will be 1 over sine 90 and sine 90 is 1. So cosec of 90 will be 1. Let's look at the next trigonometric function, values of secant at standard angles. Again, we have a relationship between sec and cos, which is sec theta is equal to 1 over cos theta. Like we did with cosec, we can either find the values of cos and then invert them to find the values of sec, or we can use the basic triangle method to find the value of sec theta. Let's see it with different angles. So first is 0 degrees. Sec 0 will be 1 over cos 0 and cos 0 is 1. So sec 0 will be 1. At 30 degrees we have sec of 30 will be 1 over cos 30 and cos of 30 is root 3 over 2. So sec 30 will be 2 over root 3. At 45 degrees we have sec 45 is 1 over cos 45 and cos 45 is 1 over root 2. So sec 45 will be root 2. At 60 degrees, we have sec 60 is 1 over cos of 60 and cos 60 is 1 over 2. So sec 60 will be 2. And the last is 90 degrees. So sec of 90 degrees is 1 over cos 90 and cos 90 is 0. Again, a number divided by 0 is always undefined. Now the last trigonometric function that we have to see is cotangent. So we see the values of this function at standard angles. We start with the relationship between cot and tan. So cot of theta is 1 over tan theta. At 0 degrees we have cot 0 is 1 over tan 0 and tan 0 is 0. So cot of 0 is undefined. At 30 degrees we have cot of 30 is 1 over tan 30 and tan 30 is 1 over root 3. So cot 30 is root 3. At 45 degrees we have cot 45 is 1 over tan 45 and tan 45 is 1. So cot 45 will also be 1. At 60 degrees, cot of 60 is 1 over tan 60 and tan 60 is root 3. So cot 60 is 1 over root 3. And the last is 90 degrees. Cot of 90 is 1 over tan 90 and tan 90 is undefined. Undefined as in it's a very large number. So something 1 divided by something that is very large will always tend to 0. So cot 90 is 0. So now we have looked at all the values for all the 6 trigonometric functions, and this is just a summary for all of the values. So on the left hand side in the first column we have all of the functions, and in the top row we have all of the values. So this is just a summary that you can look up to in case you sometimes want to remember a value at a particular angle. Now, it becomes very overwhelming to remember all of the values for different trigonometric functions and different angles all at once. So what you can do is, you can just remember the values of sine at different angles, and then you can derive the values for all of the 5 remaining trigonometric functions just from sine. So how can you do that? Let's see. If you see the values of sine, they start from 0, then it becomes 1 by 2, then 1 by root 2, then root 3 by 2 and 1. But if you look at the values of cos, they are absolutely in the reverse order. 1, root 3 over 2, 1 by root 2, 1 by 2 and 0. So if you write the values of sine, then if you write the values of cos in the reverse order, then you will get the values for cos. So we saw that once you have all the sine values, if you write them in the opposite order, then you will get the cos values. To get the values of the third trigonometric function, you just divide sine by cos. So when you divide both of them, then you will get the values for tan. So what you have to do is just divide sine values by cos values. Now, if you have the sine values, then you take the reciprocal of the individual values at that angle and then you will get the cosec values. Let's say for 0 degrees, sine 0 is 0, then cosec 0 will be 1 over 0, which is undefined. Then sine 30 is 1 over 2, so cosec 30 will be 2 over 1. So you take reciprocal of the particular sine value. Next, we do the same for cos. You just take the reciprocal of cos values, then you will get the sec values. And then we do the same for tangent. So when you have the tangent values that you obtained from dividing sine by cos, then you will get, on taking reciprocal, you will get the cot values also. So if you have sine, you reverse the order to get cos, then divide sine by cos to get tan, and then you take reciprocals of the different functions.